back to Eat, Sleep, Nerd. In this episode, we are talking spoilers for the brand new MCU film, Thunderbolts. So if you have not yet seen the film and don't want to get spoiled on what the story is all about, you might want to tune out. Go watch the movie and then come back. So if you don't want to talk spoilers, but you want to see what we thought about the film in general, we just posted a spoiler-free review over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/eatsleepnerd. We talked about the entire film with somehow not talking about a single spoiler. We gave it our score, which is 4.33 out of 5, right?
Right.
Correct.
The three of us, yes.
Yeah, so pretty good movie. We loved it. But go see what we thought about the just quality of the film in general over there. See where we ranked it on our tier maker ranking scale for the MCU. Spoilers, it was pretty good. And then,
Can you do the spoiler alert, please?
It's so far away. I'll put it in post.
Yeah.
I'll put it in post.
There we go.
All
We need
right.
a spoiler alert.
So yes, yet again, we're talking spoilers in this episode because this movie was jam-packed with things we want to talk about. We actually had a hard time talking about this movie without any spoilers, so let's get into it. If I have not said it yet already, I'm Corey Winter. We got Jason Summer
Avengers with a Z.
and Christian James.
Inner Darkness spoilers.
All right.
So dark.
So Jason, you requested that since you did the spoiler-free synopsis of the movie in the last episode, you want to do spoiler synopsis in this episode.
Sure.
You ready for that?
Yeah.
What was this movie all about?
Okay. So Elaine is getting impeached. Elaine is getting impeached because she's running some really covert, shady stuff. And so once they realize once she realizes that the man actually have some stuff on her, she's like, we need to clean house and get rid of all my shady and so shady stuff. And then she's like, I also need to get rid of all my agents that I was using. And guess what? It's all the main characters from the Thunderbolts. So she wants to get rid of Florence Pugh and Bucky Barnes. And I know I'm mixing up names and characters and actors and whatever, but that's fine. Wyatt Russell and Bob and Ghost and Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But what I do?
No, you're good. You're
Okay.
good.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if really Taskmaster counts.
Oh yeah,
but-
Taskmaster.
Yeah. I mean,
you need another bad guy like you need a hold of your head. But anyway, so so anyway, they all realize that they're to kill each other in the incinerator. They all get out and they're like, oh, we got to go. We have to go save ourselves and make sure that Elaine gets impeached and get back at her. And then there's Bob, and Bob's just some random guy. Turns out he was a test subject for Elaine DeFontaine, and he's Sentry. And then he becomes the Void because he goes really dark. And it turns out that instead of fighting, everybody just needs a group hug to save the day. So, how's that?
I mean, I guess that's
yeah. That stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a whole laundry list of stuff I want to talk about. If you can see that there, it's a whole bunch of bullet points. Is there anything? I always try to go chronologically, but it never really seems to work out. So
we could try it.
Yeah, try it.
How about we just start at the very first thing we see?
Okay.
Is that the Marvel intro is back.
Yes.
Why was it gone in Brave New World?
That
we've had
is a good
40
question.
films and television shows. Every single one had the intro. Brave New World didn't. Then all of a sudden it's back. Yet again, there's a twist on it in this film.
It was
I was about to say it's kind of back because it wasn't all the characters that we know. It was a cartoon.
It was backwards too, wasn't it? Or something like that.
I thought it was just comic,
like the
cartooning.
Yeah, the way that it twisted wasn't the normal way, and all the innards were the comic strips and not the scenes from the movies that we've seen before. Yeah. So that was that was different.
Then it turned black and like the music kind of freaked out.
Yeah, and all you heard were just the drums, the background drums to it. Which
was cool.
It's neat.
Yeah.
Well, it just makes me wonder why it wasn't in Brave New World. I'm talking about a whole different movie at this point, but like, what the heck?
Maybe Brave New World was like a delineation movie.
Like, have they talked about that?
I don't think they haven't explained why.
I mean, I'm just saying, maybe that's why. It's like, this is a marker moving forward. It's a divider movie. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Just anyway.
Yeah, anyway. Okay.
Anyway. So there was that.
Yeah.
So very next thing. Well, how about before we really get into like bullet point stuff, is there any like just overall spoiler things you guys want to talk about? So just like the story as a whole.
I liked how there was one point in the fighting sequence when Yelena is literally fighting with one Bob tied behind her back. and I thought that was funny. She was in what's the word when you're not inhibited? You got one arm behind your back. What's it called? Debilitated. Anyway,
handicap.
but she's literally tied to another person, still kicking ass, which I thought was pretty cool. And the thought occurred to me: she was fighting with one bob tied behind her back.
Okay,
I don't know.
Well, let's just talk about just how it plays into the MCU as a whole. So I talked about this on our spoiler-free episode where I felt like this did a great job of finally resolving a lot of plot threads from multiple different movies. Some off the top of my head, we got Ghost back from Ant-Man 2, so we kind of see what happened with Ghost after all these years. Obviously, Falcon and Winter Soldier with what happened with U.S. Agent and Bucky since then. It's bringing in stuff from Black Widow, especially, obviously with Red Guardian and Yelena and Taskmaster. What?
Just Taskmaster.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of.
So it's really bringing in some plot threads from a lot of stuff that happened years ago at this point.
Years, like 2020 era.
I was about to say, like Black Widow was 2020, right? It's like 5 years ago. Falcon and Winter Soldier was right around the same
even
time.
that's pushing some time.
Ant-Man 2 was even before that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was like 2018, wasn't it?
That was before Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time
this
ago.
is really resolving a lot of stuff. And like to the point I made in the other episode, it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like anything was retroactively stitched together. Like it kind of felt like this was what was going to happen the entire time, at least as far as DeFontaine's storyline goes with how she's bringing all these people together.
I would say again, and I said this in the non-spoiler, with the exception of the exposition in the limousine conversations and the impeachment hearings, that did feel forced to me, and that's why I took away points on my rating.
Sure.
But other than that, you're right. It seemed like it all came together pretty well after that.
Okay.
Yeah, there was you know, I also feel like the impeachment stuff had to happen to give her reason to get them together. Which, I mean, it's still unnecessary. But, you know, yeah, they had to get together at some point.
Did we know that she was CIA director before this movie?
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, we did?
It was there. It's either a movie or because it's Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. When what's his face?
I do.
The guy that he always talks to.
Oh,
yeah.
Martin Freeman.
Yeah, like they meet up at one point during that movie.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's
because they're married. Yeah,
that's right.
And she was saying that she was CIA director. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
We did know that.
I'm usually bad at that.
I think that even so, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, even more so, kind of making this all come together pretty nicely.
Yeah.
So I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're totally right.
I just pulled that out of the depths.
Nicely done.
Overall story stuff. Anything else aside from just how it fit in?
You know, I think the biggest bone of contention with a lot of people is going to be the treatment of Sentry / Void. There's a lot of lore that is behind that character, and I don't know if you want to call it a split character or two characters, or I don't know how you want to call it.
I never read any of those comics, so I don't know exactly how they treat that. But I do know like the origin. I looked it up, and you can go look this up yourself. But the origin of Sentry is that he was actually kind of shoehorned into stories that came before him, and they retroactively explained it that he erased himself from the memories of everyone that ever met him. So like there was a big rumor going into this film that he was going to have retroactively appeared at things like the New York battle in the Avengers, the Endgame battle, but we just didn't remember that because he erased our memory of him. Right. That's not how it ended up happening in this film, but that's kind of how it happened in the comics, is that he existed throughout the entirety of the Marvel timeline. Just we forgot about him.
And the reason that he did that is because he did turn into the Void. And by removing the Void and Sentry's the memory of his existence, not only from everybody, but his own memory, they were able to get rid of the Void. And that's why that occurred. So you kind of have a Spectre. God dang. Sentry and Void it's loosely based on the lore. And I think, again, it's for people who go in who aren't really comic book savvy, it's fine. It works.
Yeah.
It's fine. If you want to choose to get upset over it, that's your right as a nerd. Yeah, please, do that.
I think if they
you don't need to.
I think if they had done what his origin was in the comics, I think people would have kind of been pissed off. Like, are you just shoehorning him into the Avengers and stuff like that? Doesn't feel earned,
right?
So I think I'm glad they didn't do that.
And there are some things that they did bring up in the movie that some people have mentioned to me about, like his addiction and like how he grew up and things like that, and that's where the Void came from. Is his own turmoil through life. And even though they kind of it's a line in the movie, at least you know about it.
Sure.
And so it's sort of kept in there, but he also still brings it up, like how like he was an addict and he wanted to be a better person. Right. That's why he goes to the study.
Yeah, and meth addicted sign
spinner.
chicken costume sign spinner.
Yeah.
That was mentioned a few times, actually. I think they liked saying that. So let's go through your bullet points. Help us keep on track here.
So the first thing we really saw in the film, aside from the Marvel intro, was Yelena sitting on top of the skyscraper.
Badass.
Which was a real stunt. She actually did the skydive off of that building, which apparently they didn't really advertise before this movie came out. So I was just kind of like, oh yeah, she went all Tom Cruise with this and jumped off a freaking building. So it's pretty awesome. Apparently, I just saw an interview today where she said that she didn't tell anyone she was doing that because she didn't want to get in her head that people were worried about her. It's like she just went one day.
Smart.
Yeah. It's like, that's pretty cool. But you didn't tell anyone you were jumping off a giant building. All right. So
I mean, they get to see it on the big screen. I mean, what's a better way for a reveal?
Yeah, because people would assume like, that's CG. That's like 2 feet off the ground. Nah, dog.
But I kind of think that first little scene kind of set things up pretty well because she's just straight up killing who we think could probably be innocent people, just security guards.
Right, yeah.
Okay, she's maybe not the most morally rounded character. Like she's got an edge.
She's right in that gray area,
especially when she came across a scientist and just accidentally blew his face off. Like,
and she was more upset because she needed the face for an ID scan.
To be fair, he was trying to shoot her,
but he was trying to shoot her because of he was working on the Void Sentry project, and he knew how bad it would be if it got out in the open, and he was trying to protect lives.
Now, granted, she didn't know that.
Right.
She just thought she was just doing an assignment.
Right.
But still.
I mean, I picked up on it though. Like he was.
Oh, see, I didn't do it.
Oh, I did. Yeah. He's like, I gotta. You can't. He's like, you don't understand what you're letting loose if you do this thing.
Oh.
Do you remember?
Okay, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't let you do this. She's like, well, I'm not.
I'm gonna though.
Right.
But also that first scene really actually kind of emphasized that it wasn't going to be a gory film, but there were going to be some shocks. Like you weren't quite sure what was going to happen because his face getting blown off just kind of happened like that. It's like, oh my god,
yeah, yeah. Because like some movies like will set up like that to happen.
Yeah,
because we're fighting and then they're like together, and you're like, oh no, that gun's facing a weird way.
Yeah.
No, boom.
Yeah. No. Okay. So just to be clear. They don't show.
Yeah,
they don't show it.
It's clear that it happened.
Heavily
because as soon as it happened in the movie, I was like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
So yes, and they went ahead and just it's definitely a darker and like you said earlier, grittier Marvel movie.
Grittier is the word. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the impeachment hearing that was early in the film, where we found out that DeFontaine was going in front of an impeachment panel, or whatever you want to call him. Wendell Pierce, from, at least as far as I know him, from the Jack Ryan series on Amazon. So I love him. He's awesome. I wasn't expecting him to show up. It was a little forced in the dialogue that he was saying. Like it was very much a just word for word explaining everything that's been happening and stuff. So as you were saying, it was kind of spoon fed, which I don't know. It was fine.
Yeah, it was okay. If the entire movie went like that, it would be bad.
Yeah.
But it did its job, and then it allowed the movie to continue.
Right.
So when we first saw Red Guardian, he was sitting in his apartment, just in his boxers and stuff. So that was really our first touching moment of the film. We had the Elena and Red Guardian kind of getting in their feelings for a little bit. The little papa and daughter touching moment.
So for me, the more touching, the first touching moment was prior to that. And it may be because I'm older. I don't know. So I'm in my mid 40s, in case anybody's wondering. But I think it's relevant because what he's doing is he's watching old footage of him in his prime.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, and as somebody who's older, that resonated with me. And I knew I know what that feels like to sit in that space where you just want to feel that kind of way again. And so for me, I was like, oh, that's where he's at. And I got it. So for me, but then, yes, followed very closely by the touching reunion of Yelena and what is his name? Sergey?
I just know it was Red Guardian.
Guardian.
That's the name of
Alexei.
Thank you. Alexei. Thank you.
No, so that scene very much emphasized that the film was going to be a little bit heavier. It was going to touch on some more real emotions and topics. So overall, this film is very much touching on depression and just overall sadness and loneliness, which are really not topics that the MCU has ever really covered.
Yeah.
We talked about mourning and grief and Wakanda Forever, but I think it's really the closest we've gotten.
Yeah.
So just that by itself kind of made this Thunderbolts movie a little bit more special to me, just because it was touching on some very heavy things.
Yeah, it's like beyond fighting a big bad or a major threat, is like battling themselves in a way, and together.
Yeah.
Especially just having that someone to help you out, because it's kind of like when Elena finds Alexei, he was like, do you feel fulfilled?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel any kind of enjoyment of what we're doing right now?
So full.
And he was like, I mean, no, I'm kind of going through it myself. But like when I felt the best was when I was doing my thing with people.
When I was doing a service, when I was,
like fighting for his country and blah, 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 all that, all that jazz. But
so really speaking to needing a purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
So DeFontaine, we find out, is going to send Yelena into this one last mission because she wants to become a public-facing thing because she's tired of being in the shadows. So she gets sent off to that secret base to what she thinks is just a target hunt to stop someone from breaking into this secret vault because she's trying to cover her tracks from the impeachment hearings. But we find out pretty soon that it's actually just a setup. There's actually multiple people that have been sent there to take each other out.
You kill you, you kill you, you kill you, you kill you, and then you kill that last person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where we got our first death, which was so early in the film. I kind of applaud them for sticking to their guns. Because this person was on the posters. Like, this was a character. Like, Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Which, first of all, that's a badass character. I love Taskmaster.
I was waiting so long to see Taskmaster again.
Yeah. Because they were definitely wasted in Black Widow. But Taskmaster is like one of the coolest characters. If you don't really know their backstory, that's the character that can mimic any fighting stance or anything like that they witness in battle. So like if they're fighting Spider-Man, they can mimic Spider-Man's moves and stuff as long as they see it. So that's a really awesome villain that I think was really wasted in the MCU.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it got wasted, and then Taskmaster was wasted in this movie.
Yeah.
In more than one way.
Yeah.
But that was surprising. And really, out of all of them, I don't know that they should have gotten rid of Taskmaster.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to get rid of one of them. And also, I found no explanation online for why they did that.
I think it was probably just for the shock of it.
Maybe.
Yeah, because they could have like leaned into the story from Black Widow, because Yelena's sister tried to kill her as a kid.
Yeah.
And so she became Taskmaster when her dad like took over the Red Room, blah, 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 blah. And so that could have been like an easy, like they're trying to work together, but it's like we hate each other at the same time.
Yeah. And really, it makes her story in Black Widow wasted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, what was the point?
Yeah.
If we're just going to treat the character like this in Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. I would have loved to see more Taskmaster. If they had to kill one of the characters, I think they should have gotten rid of Ghost. But I don't know. I just want Taskmaster.
Like I felt like well, for the movie, like Ghost was the most useful because of her powers.
Sure.
And I guess a little more interesting to use during fights.
It was also just the most random of all the characters to get into the Thunderbolts because, the U.S. Agent and Taskmaster, Yelena, Red Guardian, Bucky, they all kind of come from the Captain America side of things, where Ghost kind of came from the Ant-Man story. Like Ghost kind of was the one that kind of didn't really fit into me.
Yeah,
so
I get
if
that.
we're doing one of these things is not like the other, Yelena.
She was in Black Widow.
But she's the only one that doesn't have superpowers.
Yes, whatever.
But also, she's a Black Widow.
She's a Black Widow.
Still not a superpower.
I'm just saying. As far as
if we're doing one of these things, I'm just...
As far as universe groupings of characters, Ghost was the one that didn't really fit into me. But
yeah. How would she have been contacted? Because was it Ant-Man 2?
Yeah,
she
was the student.
Didn't she escape with her dad, or
they
saved her.
Yeah, they were going to work with the Wasp and
him
to try to heal her.
Yeah,
right.
So
she was the bad guy of that film, but by the end of it, they were like, okay, we'll
yeah.
Which it's interesting how she got contacted by Miss DeFontaine.
I mean, I don't know who I would have gotten rid of. Instead of
if you had to get rid of anyone.
I don't know.
Yeah, if anyone,
I don't know.
Because, like I said, the Taskmaster Yelena thing would have been a little more perfect.
Yeah.
Especially with what Yelena was going through in the beginning and throughout the movie. And that would have been great. Also, additionally, in that scene as well, the fight scene was awesome.
Like where they're first fighting each other?
Right. Yeah, because you have Yelena going through like some of the files and things like that, and all of a sudden, here comes U.S. Agent John Walker. Captain America with a gun. Well,
and
so America.
That's a really good point, because one of the best instructions in storytelling is show, don't tell. And that's what they did with that scene.
Yes.
They showed everybody's powers and everybody's skills.
Yeah.
Scene. Because you put them up against each other. And so it wasn't, we were introduced early, okay, this character can do this character can do this, and that's established.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's also a thing to where you probably could have forgotten that John Walker took the super soldier serum.
I honestly did forget that.
Yeah.
Because I could have sworn the reason he didn't really succeed at being Captain America is because he wasn't a super soldier.
No. It was because he killed the guy.
Well, I know that part.
He took the serum and it made the worst part of him, the bad parts of him, worse. And it actually kind of made him psycho, and that's how he ended up killing the bad
ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
So makes good men better.
But yeah, so that first scene where they're all kind of fighting each other, they figure out pretty fast that it was a setup, so they start working together. But that's really where their chemistry start. It starts pretty fast, their chemistry.
Yeah.
They were firing off, they were roasting each other essentially.
Right.
Awesome. When they figure out that it's in a trap and everything, U.S. Agent yells to Bob, how would you like to die today, Bob? I loved the roasting. It was fantastic.
I was Captain America, for 2 seconds.
Dime store Captain America.
But that's also a good scene where they started the slow build and intrigue.
Yeah.
Because you weren't really quite sure what was about to happen, which kind of carried throughout the new. I at no point was I quite sure what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I kind of kept expecting it to get to the Suicide Squad aspect of it, where, okay, maybe Act 1 is them being set up to hunt each other, but then Act 2 is, oh, you guys didn't kill each other, so I guess we'll make you a good team and you can go fight this big villain for us. That never happened, but I kept expecting it to. The fact that I was never disappointed that it didn't happen was like, that's good buildup.
Yeah, because the villain formed out of them.
Yeah.
Working together, I guess.
And to that point, we really didn't see the villain until like more than halfway into this film.
Yeah.
Like it was all just, it was build. Like it was, obviously DeFontaine was the antagonist of the film. So like we obviously saw her at the beginning.
She was the catalyst.
Yeah. Like we didn't really see the threat until Act 3.
Yeah. The threat was situation.
Yeah.
It was situational until Act 3. And then we saw Robert Reynolds, become Sentry. And what I liked about that was you got to see what Marvel would do with Superman, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
Other than the telepathy and the telekinesis, it was essentially Superman.
Sure.
And it kind of just proved my theory that I've never really thought too much about, that Superman would pretty much kick anybody's butt in Marvel. Because, I mean, he's Sentry. Because, I mean, invincible, invulnerable, fast, just, yeah. So, I thought it was interesting. I thought they did that well to show how powerful he was compared to everybody else.
Yeah. So going back to that base, I knew you were going to do it at some point. I want to talk about the elevator shaft scene.
If you want to cut that and move it to later, you can do that.
So I just love how Bob went like, guys, I think I have an idea. And it just cuts to them like crawling up the shaft like back to back to back.
Yeah.
I was dying. It was hilarious. Like, can you imagine doing that?
I wondered about his feet.
Right.
And how much friction there was, and was that enough for his feet to stay?
And it was funny too, because that was the idea that I had in my head while we were talking about it. Like getting up on the wall and like shimmying it up. I was like, it's too wide. How would they do that? And then boom.
Like that was just the perfect example of how this can be a really serious film, but they'll just throw some laughs in there for you, and like it doesn't feel out of place.
Yeah,
because like it's funny because of their chemistry, not funny because they're trying to crack jokes.
Right. Because they were not getting along. Them having to get so close together was fun. Yes.
And then they got to the very top of that shaft, and you're just like, "Well, now what do we do?"
Yeah, now what?
It was fantastic,
and it was at the top of that elevator shaft that we kind of got really introduced to the more somber and important themes for the movie, and that's where U.S. Agent Walker helps up Bob, and the Void's power, or Sentry's power, kind of brings to the surface some dark stuff that Walker's dealing with. And he's essentially very close to jumping down the shaft, dealing with those things.
Yeah.
Unconsciously, but I think that was kind of the theme, is the darkness that they're all dealing with, and that it's affecting them significantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because it's I almost didn't catch it. It's when he pops out of it and they're like, Walker, what are you doing? And it shows his feet at the edge of the thing. I'm like, yeah, of course, because he was helping him up.
Oh no, he was about to jump off.
But yeah, and like when you really thought about it, it was like, oh,
yeah.
Yikes! And so and that's where it was kind of not like the other movie we've been talking about for so long, Suicide Squad. Is that you moved their story within the story, because you got their story through his powers.
Yeah.
And and so it wasn't like a smash cut to.
That's a very good point.
To their backstory on why they're the way they are.
Yeah.
And so that was really nicely done.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Nice.
I do want to talk about the limo scene for multiple reasons. First of all, it was just funny that just the way he came into the desert.
Yeah. Just honking his horn.
Okay. How did he find them?
Well, I know he was eavesdropping on the call.
That part I knew. All right, so he knows the general area where to go, but he drove right to Yelena and the team. How the hell did he know where to find them?
I was thinking about it in the moment, and I feel like as I was watching, I was like, "Oh, that's like I was trying to connect the dots in my head too," and I feel like I had the answer. I don't remember what it was.
Okay,
I think didn't he say it?
I know he said, "I heard DeFontaine talking."
Yeah.
And that's how I knew to come out to wherever they were. Which puts him in the area, but locating them specifically, I don't know. I was trying to figure out, did he put a tracker on her?
Maybe.
And I don't know. But so we'll call that a plot hole for right now. In the comments, if you figured this out or if we missed something, let us know.
Yeah. Might just be a detail we're forgetting.
Yeah.
But I like how when they got into the limo, it started off okay. The entrance for Bucky was badass.
When the music, this is the music I was talking about. When and gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yes.
The whole Terminator vibe. I was like, if he's not the Terminator in another movie, we're missing out, because that was a rip directly from Terminator, especially with the shotgun.
Okay, so maybe hot take here. I don't know. People like Sebastian Stan. The Winter Soldier might be the best character in the MCU right now.
Yeah.
Because he has so many different sides to him.
Right.
And he plays them off so well. Plus, he's a badass.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, too.
And he is.
Yeah, solid acting.
Yeah. And he really controls the scene. Because like when he actually like tied them all up and like had him in a little shed. I don't know. He was doing it for me. He was taking charge.
I mean,
owning that scene.
I think it's the scruff.
It is the scruff. The scruff helps.
Yeah, it's good scruff.
But going back to a little bit,
Scruffy gonna live the way he died. Scruff's gonna die the way he lived.
When the Humvees are coming up before even the Winter Soldier gets there, and Red Guardian's like, "Okay, no, I got this. Give me the vodka or whatever." And like he throws out the Molotov cocktail. It looks like he's going to do this like badass thing, and it just peters out.
Yeah, it just burns out.
Yeah. And I thought that we were shown that Bucky takes out the limo in the trailers. And I was like, oh, it was just cutting, and they're going to make it look like he took out the limo. And he's actually just took out all the military guys. Like, no, he took out the limo too.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
And US agent just goes, ah, crap.
So, okay. And this is one of the scenes that kind of took me out a little bit. I'm sorry. Even in the MCU universe and the logic of the universe, somebody should have died in that limo accident.
Oh,
I'm
for
sorry.
sure.
Well, first of all, they're all superhumans except for
But they're not, except for Yelena.
Yeah, but she's nimble.
I'm just saying.
She had her seatbelt on.
That it was just a thought. It was I was like, okay, we're watching a movie, but it was a thought. We're just like, somebody should have died in that.
No.
But yeah, what? And also, it hit the little disc, hit the trunk.
Yeah.
How would it explode to shoot it in the air?
Don't worry about it.
Movie, man.
But anyway, yeah.
One last thing about the Winter Soldier. So I actually specifically wrote down that the Winter Soldier as a character has not been hulked, in the sense that they ruined Hulk as a character, because he started off being this big, menacing, angry guy. By the time we got to Endgame, he's this pathetic, kind of stupid, goofy guy that doesn't really do much anymore.
Kind of a joke.
They made him a joke.
Yeah.
Thor as well. He started off being this big, Shakespearean god, and he became a joke. The Winter Soldier started off badass, got more badass, and yeah, he's a good guy now, but he's still badass.
Yeah, he still broods off in the corner.
Yeah.
Well, he's now in Congress, so he's a joke now. I'm kidding.
Like they show that he's still got the arm, he's still got the moves.
Yeah.
He's still got
he
the
put his arm in the dishwasher.
But yeah, I'm glad they haven't ruined the Winter Soldier. All right. So Winter Soldier finds out that they have a Sentry problem to deal with. They show up in New York. They had the little fight scene. They get called up to the penthouse. That's where we first see Sentry.
Okay. Also, it's the old Avengers Tower.
Yeah. Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really see coming, but
I didn't see that coming either.
Yeah.
But when you saw the old New York exhibition and they had the big A in the museum from Avengers, removed from Stark Tower, it made sense. I'm like, oh, they removed it from Stark Tower because she has Stark Tower now.
Right.
Yeah. So, also, she's standing behind the bar that Tony stood behind.
She did.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious if this was from the comics. So I know she called it the Watchtower. Right. Is that from the comics? I'm looking it up right now. That's not something I'm familiar with.
So
I'm not sure.
The first thing that comes up is that it was the headquarters of Sentry, which I guess makes sense. I'm just curious if this was something from the comic books that was established, or if this was brand new to the MCU.
So I know, I'm pretty sure they've got a Watchtower in DC, which is up in space where Batman kind of runs the Justice League, or kind of dispatches the Justice League from, and Justice League headquarters is up in the Watchtower in space. How it relates to the MCU, I've never heard of that.
So yeah, the Watchtower actually is established from Marvel. It looks like it dates all the way back to the year 2000 in Century number 4. So it was the home and headquarters of the Sentry, situated in Midtown Manhattan, just off of Columbus Circle. The space was a tall tower and a set of black crossing fins, blah, 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 blah.
When you're done looking, can you check me on the DC Watchtower, please?
Sure.
Thanks. I just don't want to get roasted again.
Well, I can always cut it too. Tony Stark decided to build a new office tower and inadvertently chose the space occupied by the Watchtower. Construction placed the Watchtower on top of the new Stark Tower, but the Sentry's powers still prevented anyone from noticing. So this goes back to how the Sentry erased his memory from everyone.
So they did build in a little bit of the lore.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Stark Tower was initially occupied by the new Avengers. Oh, shoot. This is all tying in. Who recruited the Sentry to their team. After breaking through the Sentry's mental blocks, the Watchtower reappeared, to the shock of most of the people in Manhattan. So, yeah, the Watchtower was straight from the comics, straight from Sentry. It was Sentry's home base in the comics. Once he erased his memory, Tony built his Avengers Tower right in that spot because no one knew it was there. Yeah, so it actually all plays into what happened in this movie.
That's cool.
But yeah, so Sentry. First look at Sentry, he's blonde.
Yeah. He came down the stairs, he was blonde. I was like, had he been blonde before? I couldn't remember until like he
was like
more until later. Yeah, he was dark haired. Yeah.
But he mentioned that they dyed it, like in the movie. He was like,
right, yeah.
I'm not done my hair.
But the I didn't know if I liked the suit.
I like the suit.
Yeah,
I like the suit.
It was a little on the nose for the Golden Guardian type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I felt like there were like different patterns going on, or different. The way that it reflected light, it made it look, each panel on it different. So it kind of looked like it was kind of like jumbled up and not just one thing.
So you're kind of distracting rather than...
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty comic accurate. I'm looking at...
Let's see.
Oh, no, I wish I had the screen pulled up, but like... So that was it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Comic book.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Huh. Pretty close. Yeah.
I think there was a wise move to get rid of the comically large S.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Thunder.
I mean, they still had a large like
belt buckle,
like redneck belt buckle, but it's not like the same size as the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Anyway, yeah. So essentially, that's where we first saw the Superman powers.
Yeah.
That I was talking about earlier.
Which I thought was interesting is that like certain people, I guess like it started with Bucky and then Elena, that he had like a force field around him
Mm-hmm.
when. And so I was like, "Is this Dune? Does he have one of those little bracelets on?"
I
But
think it's more just he had the mind powers to block him from touching him.
yeah, which is I'm not really familiar with Sentries, so it'd be really interesting to see his powers going forward.
Yeah,
because it seemed like he's gonna be trouble.
Yeah. Which fast forwarding a little bit, in I guess it was the end credit scene, which we will definitely talk about in a second. He mentioned that once they saw it, but once they helped him, and he's like back to being normal, back to being Bob. He was like, I can't be Sentry without being the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's not willing to suit back up, which I guess is kind of probably a tease. Like he probably will at some point suit back
definitely.
up, but like I don't know. I would like to see more of him.
But I did like once everybody escaped, and he was just like, I mean, they helped me. I don't see a reason to kill them.
Yeah,
and his evolution of thinking about like, also, but who are you, ma'am? Who are you to tell me what to do? Because you just told me.
It wasn't really they can help me. It was more like they can't do anything to me. So why do I need to kill them?
Exactly. Yeah. They're not a threat to me.
Yeah. So why do I need to kill them? And she's like, because I told you to. She's like,
yeah.
So,
which is, if you really think about it, it's probably the hardest lines I've ever heard. They're not a threat to me. So why do I need to kill them? Wow.
Yeah.
It's like boot and.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's funny.
And then she kills him, kind of.
Yeah.
Which was graphic because, like, you saw his eyes pop. Like,
yeah, they like turn red, sort of, and I'm like, "What is that?" She called it a kill switch, but like,
which she never explained how how they get the kill switch.
Right?
I mean,
and like, what exactly does it do? Does it just kill him, or
maybe there was a bomb in the head? Who knows?
Right?
Like, how'd she get in there? Because there's even that moment where the assistant was like, "But he doesn't have a kill switch," and she was like, "Well, I guess we should get a new one." So how did she get the new kill switch in him?
Or maybe it was kind of like the thing they had for Ghost, where it was like a frequency thing.
Oh, maybe.
Well, he was not Sentry. Well, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
Because that line about not having the kill switch came once they got to the tower.
Right.
I wonder, was he weak after he slammed into the earth, and were they able to implant something while he was weak?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But yeah, they didn't explain that part.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just feel like if you have a Superman right there,
plot hole.
Yeah, that's a big plot hole.
Yeah. Number 2.
Explain, please.
But then we saw the Void, which the introduction of the Void was so cool. Like, I love how they did the silhouette of him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was just a silhouette, and then like I almost thought they made like little eyes for him. But if you really looked at it, it was just the reflection.
Oh.
From where you'd see in the eye, or the light part that's hitting the eye, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I it's like a light.
No,
it was like little beady eyes. No, yeah, it's just the light that's hitting his eye.
They did a really good job of making it seem like he also, he didn't reflect any light.
Yeah.
Right.
He just absorbed light and was
literally
dark.
A void.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It was really cool. So the Thunderbolts team is down on the ground. Yelena has that new touching moment with Red Guardian, just saying she doesn't feel like she has a place anymore. She's lonely. Touching moment there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we saw that the Thunderbolts, once the Void shows up, they actually start like defending people, and people started plotting for him. Red Guardian's loving it. He saves the little girl.
Bro.
This guy.
Kevin Feige.
I'm sitting next to Christian when this happens, and tell them what your reaction.
Kevin Feige. That was the most disrespectful thing to ever. Like, I can get over Tom Holland's performance as he was dusting away. I can get over Groot dusting away. Sad. I can get over Vision getting his gem ripped out of his head. Bro, when that little girl got saved, he was like, "Oh, now we can find it." Poof, gets voided. It was like Control Alt Delete. This girl just vanished. Oh my god!
He started laughing in shock. I knew the way that you were laughing that you didn't think it was funny. You were like, it was like a WTF moment.
Yeah, like that could easily be a moment that you could probably cry in because it comes out of nowhere.
And it was so silent, but it was so shocking.
It's so shocking.
It just said,
kind of like,
oh god.
What we talked about in the non-spoiler, like the effects of what he does to people is jarring, and that was jarring because they were almost making a moment because everybody was clapping. Yeah, he saves the girl.
Red Guardian's finally feeling good about himself.
He's feeling good about himself. Poof, bro. That wow. But then at the we'll say that. Yeah, we'll say that. But yeah, that part was disrespectful. Oh my god!
I think that was my favorite part of the movie because of your reaction. It was
never been so shocked. What a twist!
So that part of the movie, I mean, that kind of emphasized my whole. I didn't really know what was going to happen next. Part of the film.
Exactly.
I never knew what was going to happen next.
It put a danger on everything.
Yeah. So, how did you feel when Yelena stepped into the void?
I thought that was like, oh my! I thought that was very much a Black Widow moment from Infinity War. Was that the film she died in?
Endgame.
Endgame. Sorry,
Endgame. Woo! Save that one.
Yeah. I thought that was another Black Widow moment where, oh my god, that's actually how she goes out. Because I thought she was just so sad that she was ending it.
Right.
Because she never said anything. She didn't say anything right there. She had this look on her face like she was looking at the void. It looked like she was just sad.
Yeah. And they made it clear prior to this point that the void was an existential type villain. It's an existential crisis. And the void is the darkness and the sadness in us that we all can succumb to. So when she stepped into it, it made sense in this universe. Like she was giving in. So yes. And so it was like a suicide.
Yeah. And up until that point, they had made no reference to being able to come back from that.
Right.
It seemed like a permanent thing as far as we knew.
Yeah.
So her stepping into it is like, oh my God, did she just do that?
Yeah. Did
we just see a suicide in the MCU? So yeah, I was shook.
Yeah. And it wasn't like Black Widow's suicide where it was like one of us got to go to get something.
Herself, yeah.
Right. This was
I'm
done.
I'm just gonna step right here and poof.
Because I mean, playing into that, it did seem like all hope was lost. Like they can't stop this guy. So like to me, it she didn't say anything, but like it seemed like she was like, oh, there's no hope now. We can't stop this guy. Might as well just give in.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was going through her head. So I was like, oh my God, that they just killed the main character. And the rest of the film is just going to be them
fighting the void.
Yeah. So I was like, bravo, Kevin Feige. You're just going for it. First you kill a Taskmaster in the first 5 minutes of the film, then you kill freaking Yelena. I was thoroughly shocked.
Yeah, and then it brings her to one of her scenes of grief or turmoil.
Yeah, inside the void, and she's seeing all the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, and she brought it up to Alexia that her first mission or test was to trick her friend. I'm like, well, that's messed up.
That's pretty messed up.
That's dark.
To trick her friend into getting killed.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that. Yeah. Yeah. That.
Oof. Yeah. And also like this also happened in Agatha all along, that when she tries to run away, she runs into a wall like she's on a set. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I feel like that it's an interesting thing it's almost a fourth wall kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But also it plays into the theme of when she finally breaks through it, that like, oh, it's just a room.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't watched Agatha. I need to. Thank you for bringing that back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we find out pretty fast that Yelena has a plan. She's going to try and stop the void from within the void. Pretty dark stuff in there. Especially once she gets to Bob. We see that he, dealt with childhood trauma of seemed like abuse. Like they were pretty heavily hinting at abuse, which I think is also a first for the MCU.
Yeah,
they also go on that topic.
They also go through drug use. They also address the drug use and him
and her alcohol abuse
and her alcohol. Yeah. So they're not shying away. They were not shying away from problems that all of us can have or do have. And basically, this movie was about winning through confronting those darker parts of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Next point. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
So yeah, the team figures out what she's doing. They come in there with her. We see what was it? The Red Guardian stopped. It was like a pillow or something, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
A pillow.
Yeah. There was stuff flying all over the place. He grabs the pillow. He's like, "God, evil pillow."
So this is another leading to the big fight scene between Bob and the Void. All of the Thunderbolts, they're stuck back and like they can't get out from all these braces and stuff.
Yeah, traps, yeah.
Bob is beaten up on the Void, and they're realizing, oh, that's exactly what the Void wants. This part felt a little cheesy to me, where she stopped everything with a hug.
Yeah.
That felt a little, I don't know.
They all hugged?
Yeah.
I didn't see it as a hug. I saw it as trying to get him off.
It was a hug.
No, so like before they got there, you could see the darkness like taking him over. So I saw that as like him trapping him down. And so that was them trying to get him off and struggling because he was trapping him down.
So kind of like a pulling him off that looked like a hug.
Like she had to grab onto him to yank him off.
See, I read it as she was holding on to him to make it so he realized he wasn't alone. He was embracing him.
I saw it that way too.
Yeah.
I mean, she said it in his ear. Like, yeah, you're not alone. You can beat this. But I saw it as, since it was coming up from down below, up his back and stuff like that, that he was trapped in that moment.
Maybe.
And they were just trying to get him off.
They should have sold that a little bit. If that's the case, they should have sold that better. Because I just felt
Or maybe it was left intentionally ambiguous.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I saw it more the way that you did.
Yeah.
It was like, and this is what I was
more the
saying,
Pepsi way.
This is why I said earlier when I was describing the movies or giving the plot, I said, and then the problem was all solved by a group hug. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm glad it wasn't just solved with fists and stuff, but I feel like it could have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
it was fine.
So let me get this right. How is this a 5 for you then?
Because I still loved it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
See, I don't critique every single detail and take it down.
Well, then you're not a good critiquer. Guess I'd be a critic.
My scale's on entertainment value, and I was thoroughly entertained.
Fuck. Okay.
All right. So, the Void, Sentry. Let's talk about the big shock reveal right there at the end before the credits.
Yeah.
With DeFontaine. So they get out of the Void. Everyone's saved. Everyone's back to life. They regroup on the streets, and Bob is like, "Oh, what just happened? I don't remember anything." Then they see DeFontaine on the phone from down the street, and like Bucky and Red Guardian just start walking over, like, "We got to go arrest her now." She goes behind the curtain, and they get trapped into this big press briefing,
which is very funny.
It was very funny. Where they are announced as the new Avengers. Which I guess I could have seen it coming, but I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
There was a big rumor that the asterisk meant that it was going to be there's a bunch of rumors about what that asterisk meant.
I didn't have a clue.
That was one of the rumors, is that it actually just means that they are the new Avengers, but I didn't see that was the way that it was going to go. So I was definitely still surprised. Do we think that's going to be who the new Avengers is? initially?
Well, they talked about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, can we talk about that while talking about the other end scene?
Sure.
End credit scene?
So yeah, that was the last.
Because I think we have to.
That was the last scene of the film. We had the very quick credit stinger with the Red Guardian just talking about his Wheaties box. Then we had the post-credit scene, which is a very lengthy scene. I believe IGN said it was the longest post-credit scene that the MCU has had so far, almost 3 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was the Thunderbolts, the new Avengers, quote unquote, in their new base.
In the old Avengers Tower.
In the old Avengers Tower. Some of them wearing the new suits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All looking very sharp, actually.
Yeah.
Especially that tracksuit.
And then we're also talking about Sam Wilson filing for copyright or for trademarking the Avengers name,
which apparently he has,
because he was tasked by President Ross to start the Avengers back up. So and then at the end of that we see the Fantastic Four ship come through in space. So back to your question, I think what we're going to be looking at is a collaboration between the teams and becoming one team.
Okay.
That's what I see. I see that you're going to have like a little infighting again, like a la Civil War. And then you'll see a blending of the team into an Avengers, or maybe even like an Avengers and Avengers West Coast type thing or something like that.
We haven't had a West Coast Avengers yet.
So,
which is
and with
stuff.
We in Daredevil, we sort of hinted at it.
We did. That's right.
Because when he meets Kamala's dad, he says, "Oh, she's out in California visiting some friends."
That's right.
Wow.
Nicely done.
Bro, my memory is on point today.
And that's the Daredevil season 2. No, what season are we on? No,
4.
Season 4. Born Again. Or
1.
Yeah. But yeah, her dad is in the bank, right?
Yeah.
I like that. Right?
But yeah, I saw some things about people talking about that they thought that Bucky was slighting Sam, even though they've been through a lot in the whole thing. I was like, I don't think he was like being mean about it.
No, he was just upset that they weren't agreeing to.
Yeah. And which makes me think, like, since Ross, well, I guess they kind of made it up at the end of the movie. Like, would he? Because he had reservations about creating another Avengers.
Who did?
Sam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, why would he do that?
Yeah. At the end of Brave New World, they didn't really. I don't think they really talked about it again. I'm trying to think of how Brave New World ended.
With Ross's daughter coming to say hi.
Well, yeah, but aside from that, like, did they touch on Sam wanting to start the Avengers again?
No, I mean, he kept bringing it up throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But not really.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I think, let's see, his cohort, his Air Force cohort was going to be the new Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was going to be Captain America. And then I guess we all thought that all the existing superheroes or Marvel heroes were going to come in and be part of the Avengers, but maybe not.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
So, well, that also makes me think that probably Miss Dreyfus could be a continuing character in the next movies.
Well, I mean, she's running the Avengers, the new Avengers.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as in to say that she'd probably have a run-in with Sam.
Oh, yeah.
About the name.
Yeah. Yelena even said right before the credits cut in that we own you now.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I don't know. Honestly, if that was the new event, like the official Avengers team, I'd be okay with it because I mean, it's got 3 super serum heroes and essentially a Superman, a Black Widow, and
I don't know. For me, it's like maybe it's because I kind of, I have been around the old Avengers for so long, 17 years. I'd like Sam Wilson to be, I'd like, him to lead the Avengers. I'd like Ant-Man and the Wasp to be part of them. I'd like to see the new Vision come in and be part of that. I'd like to see a Kamala or even Captain Marvel or Rambo come in, and whoever is the new Black Panther. Those would be my Avengers. These, as much as I like these characters, there's a reason why they're not Avengers and that they were the Thunderbolts. They're broken. They have darker pasts. They have shady pasts, and they may be good now, but it would be a stretch for them to be Avengers.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, couple of things. So, the MCU has started to do a couple times. Like they'll have that so and so will return.
Yeah.
Just to encourage us that they'll come back. They're not going to get canceled. I know we saw that with Star-Lord will return at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think at the end of Multiverse of Madness we saw that Doctor Strange will return. So we've had that a couple times. So in this one we had the new Avengers will return. And Bob.
And Bob.
I think that's kind of cool because that was kind of like the little transition that showed us what the asterisks meant in the title card. So looking at the title of this film, Thunderbolts Asterisks, that's such a cool title now because it's actually like a title in disguise.
Yeah.
It actually means the new Avengers. It's a new Avengers title in hiding.
Right.
That's so cool.
It was a placeholder.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah. It worked. Yeah. I mean, it was a good movie. It was well put together. It brought it tied a lot of threads together.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable. It was a good, fun experience. Solid movie. Go see it in the theaters if you haven't seen it yet.
Aside from the films that were kind of one-offs, so like Black Panther Wakanda Forever for the most part was a one-off just to kind of close that thread on Chadwick Boseman's character. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was pretty standalone as far as the MCU as a whole goes. Obviously it was closing the chapter on just the trilogy of Guardians of the Galaxy films, so like it stood pretty much by itself. As far as just everything post Endgame that weren't those one-off films, this is probably the strongest the MCU has been since Endgame, as far as like movies that are bringing things together.
Yeah.
Like we had, Captain Marvel, we had Brave New World, we had all these things that were trying to pull in pieces to like build a bigger picture. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, all those films, not the best. This is the first post-Endgame MCU film that's trying to build a bigger world. That was a pretty good film.
I guess you could say that Brave New World, it was okay, helped in the bigger scope of things.
It did. It just was not well received.
Yeah, because of the Tiamat.
Yeah, all of us here liked it. We gave it like a B, right?
Yeah. But yeah, like as far as like talking about Tiamat, they brought it back from Eternals. And then now he's made of adamantium. Wow, I can't say it.
Adamantium.
Yeah, so that brings in the X-Men. So it's like now we have to wait. Now we can wait for the X-Men.
Right.
I'm just saying, as far as like MCU films since Endgame that are trying to lead us into the next thing and close some threads and open new threads, a film that's trying to balance multiple storylines. This is the highest quality one we've had since Endgame.
Yes.
Yes, I concur.
Yeah.
Yes.
The MCU's back. Heard it here first. No, it could go down from here. We all know.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four could suck. We don't know.
The MCU is very much a roller coaster. So
again, I think this is a solid stepping stone.
It gives me hope.
Yes,
it gives me hope.
It is solid. They've got a foot on it. They're balanced. The next step is going to see where we go, I think.
Would it be a first step?
Nicely done.
First steps. Yep.
Anyway,
that's the subtitle of the Fantastic Four.
I like how you just spoon fed that. Anyway,
we spent so much time talking about it.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know how long it's been. I'm sure we've rambled on long enough.
Ramble.
So yet again, summarizing, we loved the film. We gave it a 4.33 out of 5. Jason gave it a 4. Christian gave it a 4. I gave it a perfect 5 out of 5 on our Eat, Sleep, Nerd scale. I loved it. They thought it was great. We're the only 3 that have seen it on the team so far, so maybe once Josh and Cynthia and Britt see it, maybe they'll chime in at some point too. Mm-hmm. But so far, here at Eat, Sleep, Nerd, we love it. We highly recommend that you go see it, especially while it's in theaters. If you like the MCU and you want to see if the MCU is back, go see it for yourself. Support the MCU. The more you support it, the more good quality stuff we can possibly get. Yet again, if you want to go see what we thought spoiler-free and, overall quality of the film, go check out our spoiler-free video that we posted a couple days ago on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@EatSleepNerd. If you're listening on the go, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. The show is called Eat Sleep Nerd. If you're listening over here on YouTube, please subscribe if you have not already. Like this video, go watch the rest of our videos like those as well. Leave a comment, especially if you've seen the film and want to let us know what your thoughts are. I wasn't sure where that sentence was going. And please share us with your friends and family over on social media. We have a ton of stuff coming out. We've actually recorded like a whole month of content that's coming out over the next few weeks. We got some trivia games. We've got some more tier maker things. We got some a Star Trek Jeopardy episode coming out at some point. Bunch of cool stuff.
Generty.
Yes. Bunch of cool stuff coming out. So for fans of multiple different fandoms, there's going to be something for you. Final thoughts, guys.
Thought it was great. That it did the job of my liking, and I need more of it.
Solid. Yeah.
I concur.
Eat Sleep Nerd. Take it easy, people.